So dear student, here C programming is nothing but the high level programming language. In C program, I can able to add extra features like functionalities as well as operations to the existing program. If there is no error, then I'm going to get the correct output and I'm going to stop the execution. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my new session on Introduction to C Programming. So dear student, I'm Revati from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So dear student, in my today's session, I'm going to deal with first unit from programming in C. Now, dear student, let's see the agendas of today's session. So at the beginning, I'm going to have history of C. Along with that, I'm going to have features of C language. Along with that, I'm going to have basic structure of C program. Along with that, I'm going to have executing a C program. Now, before going to start history of a C program, let me to give some introduction about C program. So what is this program? Like human being, computers are able to understand only machine level language, and whatever the work I want to done by the computer system must be provided in the form of instruction. That means computers are able to accept only instruction. Now, how we are going to provide the instruction to the computer system? For that, we required some programming language. That may be either high-level programming language or low-level programming language. So, dear student, here C programming is nothing but the high-level programming language. I repeat, it's nothing but the high-level programming language, and it's also called structured programming language. So, what is this structure? Here, all the instructions are aligned in some proper manner, and it is called modular programming. That means problems are divided into modules. So for that reason, it is called structured programming language. Along with that, it's also called platform independent. So what is the meaning of platform independent? For example, think that I'm going to write the C program for Windows operating system. And if I take same program and if I run that program in other operating system, then I can able to run because of its platform independent nature. So this all about C program. Now moving on to the history of C program. So it started in the year 1960. That means the programming language, it started in the year 1960. And what kind of programming language? That is, what is the programming language name here? That is ALGOL. And it is developed by international group, and it is most of the time used by the European people. Now, there are some disadvantage in this programming language, and it is machine dependent, and there was some incompatibility. Due to that, we are going to have BCPL, and this programming language was introduced in the year 1967 by Martin Richards. After that, we are going to have another programming language called B, and it was introduced in the year 1970. So it was introduced by Ken Thompson. Okay. So dear student, if I consider all three programming, okay, there was some disadvantage. That means it's not going to meet developers requirement or programmers requirement. To overcome that, Danish Ritchie started new programming language and it is called traditional C, and it was introduced in the year 1972, and it's going to overcome all the disadvantages of these three programs. That means this C program is going to make use of all the features of these three programming language along with that extra, that is additional features, and it was introduced by Danish Ritchie. Now in the year 1978 we are going to have K and R C. So here they started publication because when Danish Ritchie introduced traditional C program, the peoples were not aware of C program and how it is being used. To overcome that disadvantage, in the year 1978, they started publication. So what is this publication? That is nothing but the book. In that book, they started giving information about how to write C program, what are the steps we want to follow, what are the instruction set we are going to have, and how to compile, how to run. Everything they mentioned in the publication. From that year, it came into the picture. That means people started using K and R C program. After that, in the year 1989, we are going to have ANSI C. That means after K and R C, people started making group. That is nothing but developers started making committees, and in the year 1989, ANSI committee, they introduced the programming language known as ANSI C, and in the year 1990, once again we are going to have ANSI C along with ISO C, and this was introduced by the committee, ISO committee, and in the year we are going to have C99, and which year it is 1999, and it is the standardization committee. So this is all about history of program. So the actual origin of C program started in the year 1960. That means in the year 1960 we are going to have ALGOL programming language, and to overcome the disadvantage of these three programming language, Danish Ritchie started new programming language known as traditional C in the year 1972. For that reason, the Danish Ritchie is called father of C programming language. So most frequently asked questions like, who is the father of C programming? That is none other than Danish Ritchie. Now I'm going to have the features of C language. So what kind of features this C programming language is going to provide to the developer? That is simple and efficient. If I consider the basic programming syntax, here it is very simple and anyone can easily understand, easily learn, and they can able to write their own program. So here C programming basic syntax style of implementing is very easy and it is very easy to learn. So dear student, as I discussed, C programming language is example for high level programming language. So what is this high level language? That is nothing but most of the statements are look like English statement. So it's very easy to understand, it's very easy to learn, and it's very easy to implement. And I'm going to have another feature called fast. So what is this fast? It is a well-known fact that statistically typed programming language, if I consider any structured or statistically typed programs are faster and dynamic one. If I consider any programming language and it is going to implement modularity or structured programming concept, then the execution of those kind programs are fast and it is dynamic one. So dear student, moving further, I'm going to have the next feature here is portability. So what is this portable? That means I can able to carry or execute the program which is written for one machine to another, then it is known as portability. Now, another feature of C programming is portable. So, C program are machine independent. That means, consider here, if I consider Intel process as well as AMD process. Now, I'm going to write the program for Intel process and I'm going to execute and I'm going to get the output. And if I take same program in my AMD processor and if I run that process without making any modification, I can able to run my program. And this nature itself called portability as well as machine independent. That means if I consider C program, whatever the program I'm going to write for any machine that does not depend on other machine. That means I can able to run same program in other machine. The next feature here is extensibility. So extensibility means what? You can easily extend a C program. It's very easy to extend the C program. That means by taking old or existing C program, I can able to extend or I can able to extra feature that program. So this means that if a code is already written, think that I have written the program. Okay, then I want to add few more features for that program. Without affecting other code, I can able to add the extra features. Now, basically it allows adding new features, functionalities as well as operation. That means in C program, I can able to add extra features like functionalities as well as operations to the existing program. Now, moving further, I'm going to have function that is rich libraries. If I consider C programming, it provides rich set of library functions. For example, think that I want to find the square root of a given number. Now, I don't want to write complete program how to find the square root of a given number. Instead of that, what I can able to make here that I can able to use the existing built-in functions like square root or power, sine function, etc. Now, for each and every line, no need to write because C provides rich set of library functions. That means some of the functions are already written by someone and all the functions are stored in the library. And whenever I require those functions, what I'm going to do? I'm just going to include those functions in my program. So here C comes with an extensive set of, that is, a large set of libraries with the several built-in function. and whenever I required, I just want to make use of those built-in functions in my program. And it provides dynamic memory management. And if I consider memory management in C, there are two types: static memory management and dynamic memory management. Suppose if I go with static memory management, then what's going to happen? I'm going to waste the memory. But if I go with dynamic memory management, then I can able to utilize the memory effectively. For that reason, C supports dynamic memory management. To achieve that, C provides some functions like calloc, malloc, realloc. So here, one of the most significant feature of C program is to support dynamic memory management. So what is this dynamic memory? During the execution of the program, the compiler is going to allocate the memory, and that kind of memory allocation is called dynamic memory management. Along with that, it means that you can utilize and manage the size of the data structure in C during runtime. That means I can able to manage the memory during runtime. It's also known as execution time. So these are the features of C programming language. Now, I'm going to have the basic structure of C program. So, how my C program actually look like? So, a C program can be viewed as a group of building blocks called functions. So, in C program, we are going to get the group of statements, and all the statements are viewed as a function or group of building blocks. So all the statements are grouped together and it's known as function. So what is a function here? A function is a subroutine. So what is function? It is a subroutine that may include one or more statement. So what is function here? It is a subroutine or subprogram that may include one or more statement designed to perform some specific task. And what are the structure or sections of C program? That is, I'm going to have the documentation section, link section, definition section, as well as global declaration section. If I consider any C program, it must have documentation section, link section, definition section, as well as global declaration section. So dear student, please make a note here. From the examination point of view, this is very important topic, and you can expect this question for your final exam. Now, this is the basic structure of C program. Now, dear student, what is documentation section? So, at the beginning, whatever the line I'm going to have, that is called documentation section. In the documentation section, I can able to make use of single line comment or multi-line comment. And what I'm going to write there? I'm going to write the description about the program. So, where I'm going to write? In my documentation section. After that, what is my next section? That is link section. That means what are the header files I want to include, all those things I'm going to write in my links section. And my link section is going to start with #include stdio.h #include con.io.h, math.h, etc. After that, I'm going to have the definition section. So, here I'm going to write #define pi equal to some value. So suppose if I want to write the definition section, then I'm going to have hash define pi 3.1412. There are certain time I want to use the symbolic constant, and this is the example for symbolic constant, and where I'm going to write in my definition section. After that, I'm going to have the global declaration. For example, if I want to make any variable that is global to the program, then I'm going to define that above the main program. For example, if I write int a comma b comma sum, then this is the example for global variable declaration. Along with that, I'm going to have the main function. So dear student, please remember here, okay, the actual execution of the C program is going to start from main method or main function, and this function may return value or may not be. If this function is not going to return any value, then what is the return type? It is void. Suppose if my main program is going to return any value, then what is my return type? It is integer. So the actual execution of C program is going to start from the main program. Under main program, see, this is the function. So I want to write opening and closing parenthesis. Now the actual coding starts from main program, and I'm going to have the opening curly brace and closing curly brace. It is called pair. Okay, so suppose if I open, then I want to close it, and inside that I'm going to have the declaration part as well as executable part. So what is this declaration? That is nothing but the local variable declaration. That means whatever the variables I'm going to use in my main function, I'm going to write in my main function, and where I'm going to write in my declaration part. And whatever the statement I want to execute, that should be written in my executable part. And if I consider main program, certain times I can able to make use of functions, and if I'm going to make use of functions, then it is termed as subprogram or subfunction. In my subprogram, I can able to have n number of function, and those functions are called user defined function. So dear student, for time being, you just remember that the functions are nothing but the user defined function. So what is this user defined function? User is going to write his own or her own function is known as user defined function. Now, for time being, you just remember this much, that is enough. But anyway, we are going to study what is function, what is user defined function, everything in detail in our upcoming session. But at present, you just remember this much, that is enough. And from the examination point of view, this is also very, very important topic. So dear student, this is very, very important topic. Now, let me to write simple program. So, as I discussed at the beginning, I'm going to have the documentation section. So, I'll write single comment here. This is sample program, that is PRG. And what are the things I need to include? That is nothing but the link section. So, I want to include stdio.h, then hash include conio.h. Then I'm going to start from void main. Okay, and I'm going to display the message to the user saying, so to display the user message, I'm going to use printf statement hello to C programming. Okay, then get ch, okay, close the main program. So dear student, this is the simple program and this is my link section. That means which are the functions I'm going to use in my program. I want to make use that functions in my program, and for that reason I want to include the header file, because this header file contains these functions like printf or main function. So for that reason I'm going to make use of link section, that is nothing but the hash include stdio.h and hash include conio.h. Now, this is the structure. That means suppose if I want to display any message to the user, that should be written inside the double quote, and I'm going to place that double quote inside the parenthesis, and I'm going to place the semicolon at the end in order to indicate this is the end of this statement. So dear student, this is the simple example. Moving further, I'm going to have executing a C program. That means how can I execute C program and what are the procedure I want to follow. First, what I want to do, I want to write the program. So writing program is my first step. So what I'm going to do, first I'm going to write the program. So executing a program written in C involves a series of steps. So first what I want to do, I want to write the program. So that is known as creating a program. Now where I'm going to write the program, which software I'm going to use, that is Turbo C. I'm going to use Turbo C or Turbo C++. If I go with Turbo C++, then I can able to write C program as well as C++. So it is better to go with Turbo C++. After opening Turbo C++, I want to type the program or I want to write the program. After that, what I want to do, I want to compile the program. So after compiling, what I want to do, I want to link the program with the functions that are needed from the C program library. Okay. For example, think that in my program, suppose if I used math.h, okay, suppose if I used square root function, now I want to link that square root function with the math.h library function, because all the mathematical related functions are stored under math.h. After that, I'm going to execute a program. So these are the steps I need to follow while executing a C program. Now see here, this is the pictorial representation of executing a C program. Now system is ready. That means I'm ready with the Turbo C++. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to write the program. So after that, I'm going to enter the program. So this is my source program and I'm going to edit the source program, and that is given to the compiler. That means after the writing of my program, I'm going to compile the program. So compile source code. Okay. After that, if there is any error, then what I want to do, if there is any error, if it is S, once again go to the edit source program, make the addition, compile the program. Okay. If there is any error, once again go to the program, make the correction. Okay. Then compile it. When the program is error free, Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to link the library. So link with system library. Okay, then I'm going to have the executable object code. Then once the executable object is ready, then I'm going to run the program. After running, what I'm going to do, I'm going to provide the input data. That means I'm going to provide the data to my program. So if is there any logical as well as data error, then make the correction. That means go to the source program, do the correction, compile. Once the program is error free, then once again convert that into executable code, and once again I'm going to feed the data to the program, and if there is no error, then I'm going to get the correct output and I'm going to stop the execution. So dear student, I'm going to recall the procedure here. So I'm going to open the Turbo C++, then I'm going to get the screen. Okay, I'm going to type the program. After typing, I'm going to save the program. After that, what I want to do, I want to compile the program. And while compiling, if I get any error, what I want to do, I want to open the program, do the correction, save the program, once again compile it. When the program is error free, okay, then I'm going to get the object code. I'm going to get the object code. Now I'm going to run the program. How I'm going to run the program and what is the need of running program? That means I want to feed the input to my program. For that reason, I'm going to run the program, and after entering input data, if there is any logical error or if there is any error in my output, what I want to do, once again go back to the program, do the correction, compile, then run the object code and feed the input. So this is the way I'm going to execute a C program. So dear student, this is all about how to execute a C program, and in my next session I'm going to deal with C programming basic concept. So dear student, don't forget to watch this session because I'm going to deal with the basic concepts of C programming, and I hope in my today's session you got more information about features of C programming as well as the structure of C programming as well as how to execute C program. Let's meet in the next session with the information about C programming basic concept. Until that, take care and keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.